Well, it's day 11, right round 11, and everyone seemed to talk about the same game. You just heard Jan describing a game between Topalov and Caruana, and I'm here to talk about the same game, because this certainly seems to be a play of the day today, quite an interesting opening line. So, let's start moving pieces. Once again, it comes from English opening. We already said English opening is high fashion here in Moscow Candidates 2016. In this position, well-known move, bishop f4 was played by Topalov, knight f to g4. During our broadcast, we reminded about one game played previously between other two players of this candidates. Nakamura against Karyakin a couple of years ago played queen d1 to a4, which is once again a very sharp line, but forced a draw in the end, I believe. So this time e3 was played. Topalov went e3, a6 from Caruana, queen to a4, and now if you don't know the move, you might never find it at the board, because, well, the point of queen a4 is to pin an 8 pawn. You cannot capture on b5 because rook is hanging, that's obvious. And then, as a shock, comes this move, rook a8 to a7. This way, black actually attacks the knight on b5, because you don't like to take on a7. I mean, probably you can, but after queen b2, the rook is hanging, the knight is hanging on c3, and an f2 pawn is hanging, so it's too much. Plus knight f3 check, followed by queen d2 mate, is a threat. So you can't take the rook. And if you don't take the rook, then black threatens to capture on b5, and queen will be hanging. But of course, Topalov have foreseen all this. He plays h3, a b5, queen to b5. Now if black exchanges queens, queen takes, knight takes, then the rook is hanging, plus the knight is hanging, white simply gets back the material, getting much better position. Therefore, queen c6, attacking the rook. And here another interesting moment. H takes g3, an exchange sacrifice, so Topalov leaves the rook on h1, and here in this position, Fabiano took on h1. He had another option, which I'll quickly show, knight d3 check. So when white captures here, it would be check on h1, bishop f1, probably at queen c6 back. I believe this would be a slight improvement compared to the game, because what happened in the game? Caruana took on h1, Topalov took on e5, and black still played queen to c6. Queen c6, and it turns out that bishop is kind of more useful on e5. Because immediately bishop d4 followed, rook a8, a2, a3, preparing long castle perhaps, bishop e7, and this bishop e7, well, according to what we found out, happens to be not the most precise move. Perhaps black counted on bishop g7, rook g8, then taking on g4 later on. And I don't know if he missed this one, but after queen b5 to h5, an interesting switch from queen side to a king side. Black spent another 15-20 minutes, because it happens to be not so easy to defend on g7. While you don't like to play castle, that's what we were trying to do with Jan Nepomniachtchi during our comments. You don't like to play castle because after bishop d3 it's visible that all white pieces are targeting black's king. So you don't have any other comfortable moves, and after spending some time, Fabiano Caruana played king f8. This already looks like being not so attractive for black. The game saw castle long and b7, b6. I don't know what's going to happen next, but this looks like a very interesting opening, very entertaining opening line, and I believe that's going to be a game of the day today. So stay tuned, and we will be back to comments in no time.